Here for the meeting.
Bville resident, what's going on?
I guess a meeting discussing like the tax increase for gas and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
That you should stop by. Might as well. Whoa.
Thank you.
Oh, it's locked. Oh wow, you guys got that pro gear over here. After you, sir. I'll follow. Oh, thank you very much. Community and economic development. All right, these are all the businesses that open. Hello. Second floor plan. Cool. Oh, is it just...
There's your senior center, or the media room for the senior center, actually.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so
Oh.
the media room is in the basement, and in order for the senior center, they have to put the media room up here.
Oh, wow, okay.
So this is gonna be the media room.
Yeah, I was here on Saturday. They told me I couldn't come upstairs because everything was closed. It's pretty cool. Thank you. Pretty cool. Whoever gets this office is ballin'. All right, folks, it is September 19th, 6:26. I'm gonna go inside this room, wherever this is at, and set up here just to record. So, should be interesting.
I'd like to call the order of the Village Board Committee of the Whole meeting for September 19, 2023. Would you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Simone?
Here.
Trustee Carmona?
Here.
Trustee France?
Here.
Trustee Fry?
Here.
Trustee Lomax?
Here.
Trustee Penicola?
Here.
Trustee Perez?
Here.
That's seven.
At this time, we'll entertain public comment. If you wish to address the board, please approach the podium and state your name. You have 3 minutes per person with a 30-minute maximum for the meeting.
We have two. The first gentleman is Daniel Cope.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dan Folk. I've been around town. I grew up in town. Still around town. My kids all went to school. I'm a Fenton graduate. The reason I'm here tonight is this last year I had the benefit of putting together a baseball team. We played the Midwest Suburban League. We did pretty well, and I would always refer to my team. We put together a team called the Barons with some help from sponsors and some help from good friends in the area. I had a lot of Fenton graduates on my team. It's a men's league, 18 and over. And in my posts that I would always post about where our games are going to be played, we were fortunate enough to play in a league where Redmond was on our list. We had 6 games at Redmond. We did pretty good this season. We were a record of 14-8. Unfortunately, we lost in the first round of the playoffs. My reason for being here tonight is I would always put on my posts, and we started to get a following when we had people over at Redmond Park about who we were. So I would always put in my posts, the Barons from Bensonville. My reason for being here tonight is I would like to ask you, rather than just go ahead and do it, can I be called, or can our team, we're going to be playing again in the league next year. Can we say that we are the Bensonville Barons? If I don't know how that works. I don't know how it goes. I'm not asking for some, funding or anything from the village or anything like that. It would just make it easier to identify us. We had, like I said, I had more than half of my roster where there was 12 guys that graduated from Fenton or IC. So we're all local guys, local younger guys playing. They're a lot younger than I am, playing in the league. But I'd like to carry the name of Bensonville Barons rather than just being the Barons.
If I may, if I may, as long as you keep winning, go for it.
Well, I hope to have a better team next year. We're going to be. We had a great. I can't tell you the fun we had, the fun I had. I used to coach baseball. I coached high school baseball for a number of years. And like I said, a lot of these young men that we had on the team were from the area, and I think they were very well respected. And we started to get a following by the people that were coming to Redmond Park watching us play. And people were asking, well, where are you a part of? And I said, well, we're in the Midwest Suburban League. To them, it doesn't really mean anything. So I said, I talked to the league, and I want to make Redmond Field our home field, if at all possible. In order to do that, I would need approval from you guys to go ahead and move forward to do that.
Hey Daniel, so we're going to run up on a 3-minute time limit here. Sean Flynn from my office.
Okay.
Mary, can you connect those two, get the contact information, they'll sort that out for you.
That would be great.
Keep on winning, we appreciate the Bensonville pride.
We just had a very good time at Redmond with all the families and stuff that we met over there, and I just wanted to thank the village for letting us have that field and playing there and stuff. So we would like to represent Bensonville.
Keep up the good work,
I know Sean. I'll talk with Sean. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Second gentleman is Mr. Chris McCullough.
Good evening. My name is Chris McCullum, and I'm from Bensonville. In 2015, Mr. DeSimone, Ms. Fry, and Mrs. Carmona ran for the office of trustee under the Residents' Voice Party. Mr. Pancola was later added to that party. Tonight I ask you to remember the value you placed on the residents of Bensonville at that time. I am not only representing myself tonight, but also over 450 individuals who signed a petition opposing the development of a truck stop at County Line Road and Grand Avenue. Please hear our voices of opposition of this truck stop. On tonight's meeting agenda, you included an item about approving the development of a gas station. That is not what you will be discussing. According to Bensonville Village Code, a truck stop is defined as the following: an establishment where motor vehicle fuel, including non-petroleum fuel, is stored to dispense from fixed equipment into commercial vehicles and or trucks that weigh 8,000 pounds or more. Critical to this, a truck stop may also include accessory activities such as restaurants, shower facilities, truck washes, and convenience retail stores. The petitioner also refers to the development as a truck stop on quick trip letterhead in the standards approval document. It's noted in one of the headings, approval standards for special use truck stop. So will the petitioner commit tonight, along with the village, that you will serve only vehicles weighing 7,999 pounds and less? If not, Is village leadership simply using this land unit development to circumvent the current zoning district? The new municipal fuel tax proposal includes no projection of revenue and no information about the use of the revenue collected. I would think that a projection of revenue could be calculated based on the state fuel tax allocation to the municipality. This is not a tax because of a need, it's a tax because you can. You will claim that this will help the truck stop generate revenue, and the many people who do not reside in Bensenville purchase fuel here. But you are punishing all of the residents of Bensenville and potentially harming the existing gas stations. We, the residents of Bensenville, are subsidizing Quick Trip, as it is in a tax increment financing district, an enterprise zone, and now we are going to be required to further subsidize this truck stop by paying more in fuel tax.
You have 30
due to the
seconds.
fact that this station will not generate meaningful tax revenue for the village with our current tax structure. I appreciate that the residents are important to you, thus, I ask that you let the voters make a decision about the municipal fuel tax. The village has spent a significant amount of money on the Think Bensenville campaign, tens of thousands of our dollars. You include in that campaign, Think Bensenville, Think Taxes. Well, that
Mr.
statement's
McCullough, it says
accurate
3
as
minutes.
it pertains to the residents, but not our industry.
We have one more, Valerie Special.
Hi guys, Valerie Special, 120 Forest View Drive. 2 weeks ago at the CDC meeting, I spoke about a FOIA that was filed last month in August. That FOIA was a request for any and all incidents and phone calls to the 2 truck stops we currently have on Route 83. There were hundreds of calls within the last year or so. Many of them sex, overdose, all kinds of things that we don't want more in our community. In addition to that FOIA, I received today a paper copy of a FOIA from last year regarding any and all calls to the hotels next to our proposed truck stop. In these calls here, we have several calls for missing Cadillac converters from the 2 hotels next to the proposed property. There are drug charges, there's overdose calls. How are we gonna prevent this with an additional gas station and truck stop when the truck stop that we have are riddled with crime? And the hotels that we have right there have this many calls in a matter of 4 months. That's it.
Anybody else? That concludes public comment. I'd like the motion to approve, the minutes from August 15, 2023, committee of the whole meeting. Do I have a motion?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Motion carried. Under administration is a consideration of an ordinance of the village of Bensonville, Dupage, in Cook County, Illinois, amending Title III of the Bensonville Village Code to impose a municipal motor fuel tax. Do I have a motion?
You have a motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Typically, I don't come here and say there's a good tax, but I think we found a good tax here. Home rule municipalities have long been able to assess a motor fuel tax on their communities. Recently, the Illinois Municipal League worked on with a lot of the non-home rule municipalities like us to try to get some of that authority for our communities, that we could assess a gas tax and levy it. Unfortunately, at the last minute, that was changed, and the municipal motor fuel tax was only applied to Cook County communities. Well, rather, counties with a population in excess of 3 million people. There's only one of those counties in the state, Cook County. So we all licked our wounds, we thought that it was done, and then one night, because I'm a nerd, I decided to reread that legislation. And in that legislation, it says, a municipality in a county with a population over 3 million inhabitants may impose a municipal motor fuel tax. 5% of Bensenville is in Cook County, therefore we are a Cook County community. So under non-home rule law, we are now afforded that right. So when it comes to how much money we're gonna receive and why there is no revenue projections, because we do not receive the number of gallons from the state of Illinois. We only get 1% of sales, and not all sales at a gas station are gasoline. Some gas is exempt, such as biofuel, so you're unable to figure that out. So what the plan is we'll take the first quarter projection, first quarter receipt of the motor fuel tax, run a full year projection based off that, and then I'm gonna come back to this board And I think we're gonna have the opportunity to demise some of the current taxes and fees that our residents pay. Will residents pay higher gas tax? Possibly up to 60 cents on a 20-gallon tank. Will we be able to return more benefit than that to residents? I'm pretty confident we are. We all agree that most of the gas sold in this town is not sold to Bville residents. We all agree that we are fortunate enough to be on the DuPage County side of the county line. So there's always gonna be that discrepancy in taxation between DuPage and Cook County taxes. I still think we're gonna have the cheapest gas in DuPage County. I think that it's important to realize that some of our neighbors already have municipal motor fuel tax in place. The city of Elmhurst has long had a municipal motor fuel tax on their gas stations. I asked you to think about what York and Grand Avenue looks like. There are 3 gas stations there. 2 of them are in Elmhurst and have municipal motor fuel tax. One of them, Bville, does not. The price of that gas is almost always identical. So I think that a lot of this will be absorbed by the gas stations themselves and not even passed on to the residents. Let me just go through my notes real quick. So I don't come here often to raise taxes. That's not what we do here. But this is a tax that I think can deliver some true benefits back to our residents. You guys have any questions on that?
It won't go beyond a 3-cent gas tax.
No. We looked at this. The DuPage communities of Hinsdale and Burr Ridge are also in our position of non-home rule, but have portions in Cook County. They bring this to their attorneys as well, and they agree with our interpretation. We've also talked to the village attorney, and he's talked to the Illinois Department of Revenue, and they agree with our interpretation.
Any questions from the board on this? All in favor?
Real quick, it would just go into effect January 1.
January 1st. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. 2 is the consideration of resolution renewing and adopting the DuPage County National Hazard Mitigation Plan as an official plan of the village of Bville. Do I have a motion?
Get a motion on the second.
Discussion?
Tonight we had EMA coordinator Don Schultz to provide us an overview of what this agenda item is.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Before you is the natural hazard mitigation plan for DuPage County. It's a plan that the county puts together. Most of the communities within DuPage County have adopted this plan. It's on a 5-year cycle, which is a requirement from FEMA. Last time this was before you was 2018 when it was adopted. So this year, obviously is the year, Jeff Mesco from Public Works, the engineer, and myself, we reviewed the plan, made the updates, submitted it to DuPage County, and so here we are tonight looking for questions you may have, and then approval at the next meeting.
These are plans that we often don't want to ever have to use, but I think it's important that the work that Don does. We were working right when COVID hit. We were working our continuity of operations plan, and we had that in place. And once COVID hit and everybody had to go work from home, we were one of the first communities to actually pull the document off the shelf and implement our continuity of operations to open up Village Hall to our residents as quickly as possible. So this is one of those plans that we hope to never use. We hope it sits on a shelf, but we're ready for it. A lot of it does center around flooding. It's probably the predominant natural hazard.
Right. One important part that I did leave out here was it does make the village eligible for some grant opportunities if we are able to then apply for it. And I know Joe is familiar with that as well. So, do you have any further questions?
Nope. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Community and Economic Development's consideration of an ordinance approving a preliminary and final plan unit development with code departures for a new 10-unit townhome complex at 214 North Walnut Street. Do I have a motion?
Get a motion on the
Do
second.
you have a second?
Discussion. Curtis?
Yeah, so the petitioner's here too, if you have any questions. This was a previously approved one. You guys might recognize this one from a few years ago. It was approved already in 2021. This is the exact same plan. They didn't move forward with it at the time. We have a year, basically, kind of ticking clock on approvals of this nature. So if they don't start the project, don't pull the permits, they actually lose that right. They have to come back through and get the approval again. So nothing has changed from this plan. It's a 10 townhome development, 2-car, attached garages on the rear. So Yeah, so it's two separate buildings, it kind of faces north, so if you're looking at Walnut, the Walnut side would have a kind of a focus side, but really all the 10 homes are sort of facing north, and then you would enter sort of on the south side, behind that strip center there, the Walnut Plaza, commercial center, that's where all the parking would be. So, really, there's only a couple deviations, maximum driveway width, proposed 25, the max required or allowed in residential is 10 feet, so a little wider. And if you see that drive on the south end, it makes sense, next to the commercial there too. And then tree preservation replacement standards. There are, obviously this is just a single family lot at this point, there are a lot of trees on the site that'll be coming down. They will be replacing as many as possible. We're gonna work with them to get the best landscaping plan, that we can on the site, including there's a significant buffer between sort of the front of these and the home to the north. So there's quite a buffer, and then a lot of landscaping that's gonna go on in between kind of these sort of front stoops and then that home property just to the north. So at the CDC, it was voted unanimously 6-0 to recommend approval.
Do you have questions on this new home development?
We do have the developers in the audience tonight, like you said.
Want to say anything? You guys good? Questions?
The Crest Brothers, we know them.
I know.
The housing development community.
Questions from the board? All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. 2 is consideration of orders approving amendment to the Bo Jackson Elite Sports Domes Complex. Planned unit development to construct a gas station at the northwest corner of the Grand Avenue and County Line Road intersection. Do I have a motion?
Give a motion.
Second. I'd like to start discussion on this, if I may. So I'm gonna address some of the false narratives that are going around here. And then we'll get to some of the discussions that I personally had with Quick Trip, and I believe they are here today, all right?
That's correct.
Okay. So the last couple of weeks, we were talking back and forth with Quick residents, staff, members of the board, and we got lost on a lot of people at this gas station. We gotta remember, it's going to come, okay? It was part of the plan unit development, it was going to come. It was just what we can get out of it to save our community. Okay, so I want you guys to realize that. As the mayor, it's always my job to get the best deal for the residents for this town. And I know Andrew is here. Andrew and I have had many heated discussions. And I know that you might be mad at me sometimes, but I have to fight for what I believe in. So I'll hand it off to you, and I'll mention some of the things we discussed. If you want to maybe go up to the podium, we can talk back and forth, if you don't mind.
Yeah, if we could just have Andy give an overview of the stance where process that we got to this, and then we can.
Okay, that's fine. Do you want to do a brief summary of your presentation to when you were here in front of the CDC?
Sure, absolutely. Andrew Smith, real estate manager for Quick Trip, been with Quick Trip for over 15 years now. With me tonight, I've got Ali Lucas. He is our real estate project manager, Nick Katikas, zoning attorney, and Lee Cannon, traffic engineer. We were all at the previous meeting, so I'm not going to go through the entire previous discussion, but just I want to hit some of the big points. Quick Trip is a company that prides itself on taking care of its employees and its customers. Ali and I both started in the stores ourselves. I was a part-time clerk for 3 or 4 years, and then went to work overnights. I trained employees in the stores before moving on to real estate, which really is a pretty common story at Quick Trip. So many people in our corporate office started in our stores, and we've got over 20,000 employees, and we care about our employees very greatly. We take great care of our employees to make sure they always have the best. With that, our employees are absolutely motivated to keep our facilities in great shape and provide a unique customer service experience on every single trip. We have stores all over the country that have been open for 15, 20, 30 years and still look like they're brand new. This project, we started working on this close to 3 years ago. I don't have the exact dates in my head, they were in the slides though. We've been through many iterations of our site plan. Every step of the way, the feedback we heard was take care of the residents, make sure you minimize your impact wherever possible. Even given that when the land was sold, it explicitly spelled out our use as being the acceptable and desired use of this location, even so far as put that into the sale contract. With that, Quick Trip still wants to be a good community resident, we still want to be a responsible corporate citizen. We want to bring forward a project that is amenable not just to us, but to our village as well. So that's why we have made so many changes throughout the process. And like I said, each step of the way, we kept hearing the same feedback. mitigate your impact, mitigate your impact, mitigate your impact, which I think is what, Mayor was getting at. Even at the last board meeting, you know, one of the things that, or the CDC meeting, one of the things we heard was increase that screening, make sure that we're mitigating, even though we're 1,200 feet away, from our diesel canopy to our nearest resident, we're still going to be adding additional landscaping and screening walls, to help further mitigate that.
Don't give away all of my secrets.
I'm not giving away your secrets, I know better than that, so, you know.
So let's talk about what we discussed.
Sure, absolutely.
So there was two minor things we discussed was signage and no overnight parking. That was a given, right?
Correct.
A couple things we've had heated discussion on was, you're gonna install a 4-foot wall with added trees for screening, which is going to be, do we have a picture of it anywhere? Corey?
If anybody can figure out the plan, there was the shared full access drive on the northernmost side of our driveway.
So it's gonna be on your property on that northern side of the
It'll be on the southern side of that full access driveway, so we aren't having any negative impact on the remainder of the property, it's exclusively contained within our property.
So that's going to be
So plan south, which is actually to the north side.
Yeah, we put the
down
stop
where,
there.
yeah.
So you see where the truck parking stalls, where there's a median on the right side, it's gonna go.
So basically right behind where the truck parks, correct?
Yes.
So 4-foot wall and some greenery. We agreed on that, correct?
Correct.
You're gonna reduce the truck parking from 14 down to 6.
Yes. That was not an easy one with corporate, I had many discussions on my end, but we are agreeing to that.
And 6 makes sense because there's 6
Yes.
pumps there.
Yeah.
You're gonna reduce your car parking from 49 to 45. We wanted 40, but you said you have about 10 or 11 employees that work there, so
Yeah,
that's
correct.
possibly 10 or 11 spots.
Right, between employees and then ADA spaces as well, we wanna make sure that we don't encourage, behavior of somebody taking all those spaces, but I think it's a reasonable request.
You are going to, I don't know what the word fund is, you're gonna add a license plate reading camera that our police department's gonna have direct control over every year at the cost of $3,000 per year. So that will read every license plates that come in that vicinity, and I believe we're gonna look for the Grand Avenue westbound into the town, right? It's because I think that's the only place you can kind of read it from the better location, but that'll be up to the license plate reading company to figure that out. But somewhere on your property, on either county line or Grand, will be a license plate reading camera.
Correct, and that's a program I was not familiar with before, last time we spoke. We have reviewed that, and we're willing to agree to that. It's, of the 1,000 stores, this will be the only one, at least to my knowledge.
And I think this is the one you hung up the phone on me a couple times. You're gonna remove your truck scales.
Yes, that's a very specific corporate approval to get that. That's a tough one, that's not something that would be on a common occurrence, that's especially rare for, especially, having some warehouses and stuff in the area, but per your request.
So you're essentially a gas station.
Yes.
So if I want to tell every gas station in town they can't sell gas to anybody with over 7,900 pounds, there'll be no gas station selling diesel in trucks. So you're also making improvements to the intersection, correct?
Yes, and as we discussed in the previous.
There's no overnight parking,
No overnight parking.
there's no showers,
No
there's no
showers.
liquor,
No liquor.
there's no gambling.
No gaming.
Gaming,
Scratch tickets and things like that.
yeah, lottery tickets. I think we've hit pretty much all of the notes that were kind of an intense debate. And I think that you know that we want you to be a great partner and an even better neighbor.
Absolutely, and I will just say too, this isn't the way that these discussions always go. You don't always have a, corporate system that comes in that wants to have these conversations and give on things, even when, there is a underlying sale agreement from the village that, allowed our use. You also don't always have a mayor that fights for those things, even to the last minute. So I think it's a great partnership. I think we both have the same interest aligned here, and we want to see the quality project come to fruition.
What you guys gotta realize is they could have built whatever they wanted to build. And then when we said no, when we voted no, they would sue the village and they would eventually get us in the lawsuit and eventually build whatever they want to build. These are huge wins for this location, for this site. It's been vacant for many, many years. It's gonna finally start generating tax revenue to the village. That's what we need to see.
Mayor,
And I think that's what we got.
Can I talk, it's not appropriate to talk about tax revenue at the CDC level, it's not a zoning issue, but we're not at this level right now. So I wanna talk about that. There was a statement that all this money was gonna go to Elmhurst School District. It's not. This is in TIF 4, and that's 100% of the property tax revenue from this development will flow to the village coffers until at least 2034 when that TIF district expires, but those taxes actually flow into 2035. We have a lot of uses, we have a lot of big plans for that TIF district. That creek over there is a stormwater problem for the village. We think we can use that creek to help drain the village better, to reduce flooding. Joe, you put $1.5 million in the budget for next year for that creek. There's some lift station issues, public improvements, and we're also going to use this to generate some more development on that site. There's still a vacant pad next to Bill Jackson. There's more development. Kind of like what we went high quality development there. So it's in a TIF district. We're getting all the money. We're getting all the sales tax dollars. We're getting all the money from sales tax dollars. All that money's going to flow to us. It's going to be a significant tax generator for us. Why is that important? Because you guys won't, this board will not let you raise property taxes. So we raise revenue for the village. When everything's costing more and more, we're keeping property tax flat at 1 to 2% annually, sometimes 0%. So to fund the growth of the village and the cost increases for maintaining roads, plow, salaries, we use development, we use sales tax. Our sales tax has gone up significantly over the years, and that's what we've been investing on. We gotta keep that up because sales tax isn't economically sensitive.
I know there's another thing that was brought up, enterprise zone. Enterprise zone is to bring development into the town. That was given to us when we lost a lot of our town to O'Hare. That's to increase and bring developers to wanna build here. That 7% doesn't get paid by us, it gets paid by the state, am I correct?
It's the state sales tax exemption, where they don't have to pay sales tax to the state of Illinois. We don't see that.
So if you wanna take the enterprise zone, nobody's gonna build here. So that's what we're doing here. And I find it real funny that the gentleman speaking about taxes, the gentleman was control of board that gave you the highest taxes in the village. I find that even funnier that happens. But I'm glad that we can work this out. I'm glad that it's gonna come to a head that not everybody's gonna be happy with, but I think the majority of the people are gonna be able to understand the village's position and Quick Trip's position and your board's position on this. So with that being said, Andrew, thank you very much. I look forward to being great partners with you and again, you being a good leader. Do you have any other discussion from the board?
I just would like to say, thank you to Quick Trip. No, you can sit down. No, I just wanna say, I live in the Brentwood subdivision. I'm not far from the project. I just wanna say thank you for the concession. A lot of things that you concession on are what residents have been worried about, and it means a lot, especially living in the area that, you know, you guys are willing to work with the village. So I appreciate your partnership with the village, so thank you for that.
We worked with a lot of gas stations, in this town. Quick Trip by far was the best one to work with. The team you put together was super professional. I got comments from people on staff that was one of the best traffic studies that they've ever analyzed. So thank you for that. That was impressive, nerdy but impressive.
Before I forget, I know another comment was made that Quick Trip is just getting their foot in the door and they're gonna expand. Let's explain how we don't go back on this.
Right, so there's a couple things why they're not gonna expand. They own this site. They don't own the site north of them. They own this site. We plan to develop the rest of that site. They're building a wall, and then with this PUD, this is the approved site plan. To change this PUD, they would have to go through the entire process again. It would be an amendment to the PUD, which is precisely what the whole process was in the first place.
And that's how it works here. Any other discussion? So do I have an amended motion to approve the ordinance approving an amendment to the Bo Jackson Elite Sports Dome Complex PUD to construct a gas station in the northwest corner of the Grand Avenue and County Line Road intersection with the additional 5 conditions that I mentioned earlier? Do I have to read those conditions? Do I have a motion?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
To be clear, the board is directing staff to create those conditions for final approval. of the board next week. You clear?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
On to number 3 is a consideration of an ordinance approving variations for the alteration of an existing lot due to a proposed subdivision at 150 Ridgewood Avenue. Do I have a motion?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
So this one's a little easier if you're looking at the aerial site plan here. So it's a long lot along Ridgewood. It's technically, current front yard is on Grove Avenue. They wanna subdivide, and so they wanna create a new lot that'll face Grove, because you got all that space up there to build a new home. And then the existing lot will become a Ridgewood address, and that creates some nonconformity. So you basically, it creates a nonconformity in the front yard, we're at the garage location, and, the rear yard actually. So the setbacks are a little off, it doesn't change anything about the house actually, it's exactly where it is. It's just gonna lop off that northern half, so they have another lot that they can actually sell to develop for another home. So staff was in favor of this, and the CDC voted unanimously 6-0 to recommend approval of the new variation.
Any questions from the board? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carried. Before I go to number 4, if any resident wants to talk to me after the meeting, or any one of us will be here, just so you guys know that.
On the same note, not gonna disrespect this if you get up and leave. We know some of this is dry, so feel free to leave. If you want to, but we also invite you to stay.
4 is consideration of ordinance approving a special use permit and variation from a new truck repair facility at 796 Fairway Drive. Is there a motion?
Give a motion.
Oh, second.
Second.
Discussion.
Okay, so this is, I would call it a long troubled property, in the village, up in the industrial district. It's a hidden, kind of, industrial property. The new owners, purchased here within the last year or so, and are planning to put a ton of money into it, so we're happy to see this. Essentially, they do truck repair on their fleet of trucks, so it won't be outside truck repair, so we're always a little cautious about truck repair uses. So if you notice on the aerial there, though, it's a long driveway that leads back. So part of the variations needed for this are having to do with street trees and some yard edges that don't traditionally work out in most of, you can't put street trees on the edge of the driveway. And then the traditional front yards are kind of weird on this lot. So, part of it is screening of the outdoor storage, sizing of the truck parking spaces for the bobtails that they're gonna be parking to work on, and then, the street trees. But overall, staff was very enthusiastic about this, special use and variations, and they're gonna clean up the lot and, kind of get this property back into a bit of good use. It should also be noted too, they're willing to work with the village. We have property just south of here, we usually access, well, not usually, we sometimes access from their site. They're gonna work with us to provide some access, kind of on the south end there, maybe there's something to get into our property there. So, all in all, we think it's a great project, and the CDC, agreed, recommending 6-0 unanimously.
Any questions from our board? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carried. 5 is consideration of resolution authorizing purchase order to Omega Sign and lighting for festival theater signage in the not to exceed amount of $33,479. Do I have a motion? Second. Discussion.
Okay, so we are embarking on the rebranding of the theater. This is kind of phase 1, and we want to get in the order to fabricate the new sign. So the theater was historically called the Center Theater in Bville, and we want to go back to that. So part of that will be that tired awning that exists out there will be removed, and we thought this would be a good time to kind of refab the traditional sign that was out there and rebrand it back to the Center Theater. Really cool project. Phase 1 is basically making the outside look nice. Starting next week, I think later on Joe's gonna be talking about this, but we're gonna be removing that awning, doing some top pointing, doing some window work, and then after our approval for this, we would order the fabrication of this new sign to be installed.
This is a great little housekeeping first, a great little useful story. The library was going through their archives and found this photo, and we all looked at it and said, "That was awesome. Let's go back." We've got some pretty ugly awnings out there right now. I think returning it to its historic nature, it's an investment in our downtown, it's an investment in a destination for us, and return to the Center Theater is returning to the 1920 roots. This is phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be hopefully next year. It's going to be renovation inside of the theater. We're still working on cost estimates for that, but so there'll be art deco on the outside. We're still working with design outside.
Should be noted, this is planned to be based on the tips, one of the industrial tip, as much as the downtown, so it's sort of fun.
Then we were talking about, I don't know if we could see it in here, redoing
Yeah, we are deep into the research of that as well, looking at fabrication of new boxes and the TVs that go in there and how do we work on that stuff remotely. So we're definitely, it's gonna happen, we're just haven't quite figured out exactly how it's gonna happen, but that's gonna be part of this.
Reached out to one of the local fabricators in the industrial district this evening. We don't know either. Got the idea, but we're gonna fabricate something, put monitors in there to replace the old posters. It'll look pretty cool.
Any questions from the board? Do you think the sign will be up before the end of the year? You think something's starting?
Yeah, at least some of the front work. I don't, what did he say on lead time on that sign? He gave us quite a long lead time, I forget how long. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it depends how quickly we can get this thing fabricated and then, you know, scheduled and installed, hopefully by then.
Thank you.
Does the board wanna do a rededication of the sign, or do you wanna wait till the whole renovation's done?
I see.
Any other questions from our board? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. On the public works, the consideration of resolution authorizing change order number 1 for the preventative maintenance contract for the Edge and Edge 2 facilities with Creamy Star Mechanical Services in the amount of $5,280 for a revised contract amount of $14,580. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion, Joe?
Yeah, so due to the departure of the facilities manager over to recreation department, we're looking to expand this existing contract. We started the contract with Green Star in January just to do some on-call maintenance as needed. With the departure of the facility manager, we have some dehumidification units and some chillers that really we don't have the expertise to maintain and inspect. So we're looking to add $5,300 onto our existing contract, which was $9,300, to get us through the rest of the year. They'll come out monthly to do inspections, check belts, change oils, make sure the systems are working properly to keep our ice maintained. And then we'll look at doing a longer term project for next year to continue that maintenance going forward. Initially, we approved this administratively, it was under the $10,000 limit, but with this change order, it does exceed that limit, so that's why we're in front of you today. It's our recommendation to go ahead and approve this contract.
Any questions from our board? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carried. 2 is a consideration of resolution authorizing a purchase order to Shape Guys for replacement of 5 gazebo roofs at the Redmond Park in the not to exceed amount of $46,307.12. Is there a motion?
Get a motion.
A second. Joe?
So our 2023 CIP included the replacement of the roofs at 2 of our smaller gazebos just off of Jefferson. As we were starting to look at that project, we looked at some of the other structures around Redmond, there's the band shell, the pavilion, and also the bathrooms for the playground. All of those structures also are pretty desperate need to be looked at. So we engaged in a proposal to see what it would cost to do all of these facilities versus just the 2. We put out a proposal that would use a composite shaker. No problem. This will actually give it the existing look in a composite material that comes with lifetime warranty. We put this out to bid, we had 3 roofing contractors respond to that bid, with Shea Brothers coming in at the lowest, it was $46,308. A little bit over what we budgeted, but again, we're getting 5 structures done instead of just the 2 small ones. So it's our recommendation to go ahead and approve this, rehab.
Whose lifetime?
As long as the paper exists.
This is another one, we had the opportunity, if we wanted to, we could do a more traditional, asphalt roof, if we wanted to go with,
Lifetime warranty.
lifetime warranty and the shaker look, it does add something, a nice, to the area.
Any questions from the board? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Consideration of resolution authorizing the contractor Grove Masonry maintenance for masonry renovations in Bensonville Theater not to exceed amount of $28,000. Do I have a motion?
No motion.
Second?
Second.
I think we just discussed this, but go ahead.
Yeah, so as mentioned, we're actually going to start working on the awning removal tomorrow in-house. So our in-house staff's going to be doing some awning removals, you mentioned videos and things like that. We did have our tree architecture help us put a specification together for tuck pointing and some masonry repairs in the exterior. Try to make that look as fresh as possible. We bid that out, also had 3 bidders on that project, with road masonry coming in at the lowest bid of $28,000. So they will actually rooftop point most of the front facade, they'll do some, again, some chips, marble, and masonry repairs to make it as good as possible. It's just one other component of the full exterior, that's our recommendation.
This is one of those projects trying to do a lot of it in-house. This from time to time is a point of pride for a lot of professionals.
Any questions from our board? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Consideration of resolution authorizing purchase order to Sternberg Lighting for the purchase of 3 cast iron streetlight poles with bases for Irving Park Road and not to exceed $151,000. Do we have a motion?
Give motion.
Second.
Second.
So we have over 100 streetlights in this along Irving Park Road, and these poles sometimes get hit, and they get damaged, and they need to be replaced. A complete setup of these poles is about $24,000. We fortunately have enough of the acorn fixtures that are on top of main street lights in stock, that we were just looking to get some inventory of the poles, the pedestrian lights, the arms, and the bases. So that cost is about $17,000 per assembly. We'd like to purchase 3 of them, so we have 3 of them sitting in inventory should any of them get hit. Right now, we have pieces to make 1 of them. So unfortunately, these also take about 20 weeks to fabricate. So we're looking to purchase 3 of these at $17,000 a piece for $51,000 total. Hopefully get them delivered by spring of next year, just to have that piece.
Any questions?
This is where I point out when I come back, I'm gonna be like a salesman.
I have one.
Yes.
You know, you say sometimes they get hit. Are we able to go after these people that have hit them and get some money out of them?
It depends. If we do have a police report for it, we bring it to our risk management and they go out and try to seek the reimbursement for them. Sometimes they're successful, most of the time they're successful if we have a police report and somebody hit. Sometimes though they are hit and runs and we don't have anything for them.
And sometimes they are, we have a person who don't have insurance. It's hard to talk about.
Only they do with an insurance guy.
Any other questions from the board? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. 5 is an informational item to discuss future responsibilities at our recreation facility.
Yeah, so this is kind of there's no action tonight. This is kind of a joint discussion between, recreation as well as public works. We used to have there was an employee who's no longer employed at the village at Recreation Department that did a lot of the maintenance of the heads. They took care of compressors, and facilities, and fixtures, and toilets break, a lot of that type of stuff. It's gonna be next to impossible to fill this position. It's very specialized stuff. We are also walking a very fine line about what was union work under our AFSCME contract, what was non-union, this person was non-union, or recreation's non-union. So with that gone, we have a robust facilities department now. We've got new leadership in the facilities department. This kind of presented an opportunity. Joe, do you wanna talk about what we're thinking?
Yeah, so sure. Right now, our facility group takes care of 6 different facilities around town that are just general fund type of things. And we're looking to take on the Edge Ice Arena, both of them, and the Aquatic Center as well. So in order to do that, we're looking to add 1 more person to our division. It'll make us 3 technicians and a supervisor for that position, for that division. We will be doing a lot more of the day-to-day maintenance, as well as looking more into some of the mechanicals that are involved with the 2 Edge facilities. Some of those systems are getting pretty old, and I think that our new supervisor has some knowledge of systems like that we can help with some staff to make sure that we're keeping our facilities as up to date as possible. Hopefully making some improvements to them to keep our facility up to date and really be able to sell the ice the way that we're selling it right now into the future.
I don't take adding new staff lightly. It's something that we really lean down. When I started here, we cut $1.8 million of staffing from the village. I don't want to creep back up to those levels, but I think this is a smart way to do it. We're not really increasing staffing, we're shifting some staffing from the recreation over to public works. The reason I want to bring this to the board is just to make sure that we're on the same page, we're transparent. That was a non-union position, we're creating a union position. I think Joe's done a great culture shift over at Public Works where the management union strife that used to exist is no longer there. They still hold their line, we still hold our line, but the culture is there that I'm not too concerned about this anymore. The new Chris Duza, we got Chris in front of the board yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys met him. He's doing a wonderful job. He's finding new innovative ways to purchase things, to implement things, and really helping all the departments out, and not just Public Works. He's really leading this. So I think this is the right time to grow that position.
Do we have any questions?
No.
Thank you for the information.
So we'll move forward with hiring that position.
We do not have anything on the recreation. Do we have any informational items?
I have none,
Any unfinished business?
seeing none,
Executive session need?
no need.
Do you have a motion to adjourn?
Do a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. We are adjourned. Thank you. I mean, I don't mean to.
Yeah.
But I made a couple phone calls.
Come here.